Alright everyone, let's make some no-soak 3-bean Instant Pot chili. A link to the full recipe that's posted on my blog is in the description below. This recipe is for a 6 or 8 quart Instant Pot. If you have a 4 quart Instant Pot, just cut all the ingredients in half and it should turn out just fine. Start by mincing all the vegetables as finely as you can. I used my mini chopper, but a food processor would work here too. If you don't have either, just use your knife. This is definitely more veggies than most chili recipes call for, but I'm choosing to add more to increase the volume without adding extra calories. If you chop them really finely, they just kind of melt into the sauce. Hit the saute button on your Instant Pot and add all the veggies except the garlic and saute until browned, about 8 to 10 minutes. No oil is necessary here, especially since we'll deglaze the pot by adding the veggie broth in a few minutes. One of the biggest obstacles to cooking delicious vegan food is replacing the umami or savory flavor that animal products often bring to traditional recipes, especially when they're browned. One way to replace that is by browning our veggies. When the sugars in the vegetables caramelize, it brings an umami kick to the party and helps give a depth and complexity of flavor even with simple ingredients. I chose chili as the first recipe to feature on my site for quite a few reasons. First of all, it's winter right now, and while there's plenty of seasonal produce to highlight, pretty much everyone loves a hearty chili when it's cold outside, and this recipe can be made with mostly pantry ingredients, so I bet a lot of you already have everything you need on hand. Beans are a vegan's best friend. They're full of whole carbohydrates, protein, and fiber, so you stay full longer. Chili also freezes beautifully, so make this huge batch and freeze most of it in individual portions so you can eat it later when you don't feel like cooking. Also, this is a great opportunity to introduce you to a vegan staple you might not be familiar with, textured vegetable protein, aka TVP. If you've ever had canned chili or eaten at Taco Bell, you've probably had it before and didn't even notice. It's technically a processed food, but it's high in protein, contains no fat, and I use it in moderation without guilt. I buy it in the bulk bins of my local grocery store, but you can find it at most stores these days or order it online. You can leave it out if you want, or you can substitute any vegan ground. Just reduce the amount of broth to 5 cups instead of 6. Finally, chili is extremely versatile. Keep watching because at the end of the video, I'll show you a bunch of different ways to use it. Once the vegetables are browned, turn your Instant Pot off. It can get a little too hot at this point, and the residual heat's enough for the next step. Add in the garlic and the spices and stir continuously, toasting for about a minute. If you don't have chipotle powder, you can use a teaspoon of adobo from a can of chipotles or half a teaspoon of liquid smoke instead. And no, a quarter cup of cumin isn't a typo. Did you know there's only 4 tablespoons in a quarter cup? I find most recipes to be drastically underseasoned, and I prefer my food to be flavorful. Plus, this recipe makes a lot of chili, so if you don't add a lot of spices, it'll just be bland. Now add the tomatoes, beans, TVP, vegetable broth, water, and salt. I'm using better than bouillon paste here. If you have homemade broth, feel free to use it, but since this chili is so heavily seasoned, I'm saving mine for another recipe where the flavor of the broth will matter more. I wouldn't recommend using boxed broth here just because of the cost, but that would be fine too. Stir everything together, put the lid on your Instant Pot, make sure the vent is set to sealed, choose the chili setting. On my model, it's under the pressure cook button, or just set it to 40 minutes high pressure. When it's done, wait for the pressure to naturally release to avoid splattering. Once the pressure has released, remove the lid, stir, and give it a taste. Adjust the salt if you feel like it needs it, and you're good to go. If it's a little bit too watery, just take a tablespoon of cornstarch, mix it with a tablespoon of cold water, and add to the chili. Stir and let it sit for about 5 minutes. That should thicken up the sauce for you. I like mine served with red onion and scallions. I know, onion squared. But cilantro, pickled jalapenos, avocado, tortilla chips, or cornbread croutons are also great toppings. Alright, as promised, here are some ideas on how to use all of this amazing chili you'll have after you make this recipe. Maybe it's my family's southern roots, but my absolute favorite way to eat chili is on top of cornbread. I didn't take a video of it, but on the topic of corn, putting it on polenta is also delicious. Add whole wheat elbow pasta and turn it into chili mac. Or you can be like those weirdos in Cincinnati and put it on spaghetti. I don't know. Noodles are noodles, right? Put it on top of a baked potato or roasted winter squash. The texture of delicata squash is really similar to potato. I'm showing brown rice here, but you could also put it on top of quinoa or farro or barley or any other whole grain. It kind of goes without saying that you can put it on top of a hot dog or burger, but I'm saying it anyway. Hot dogs aren't whole foods technically, but in a pinch, you could do worse. And finally, air fry homemade oil-free corn or wheat tortillas to make chips to scoop your chili up with. Alright everyone, thanks so much for watching. I hope you try this recipe. Let me know how it turns out by tagging me on Instagram at YourVeganAuntie. I'll have a new video out soon, so please subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when a new video comes out.